So truly, this is the golden age of Battletech. We have so many choices in terms of miniatures, even moving beyond the fantastic Game of Armored Combat starter set and the beginner's box. We've got new maps. We've got the classic metal miniatures. We've got the new Catalyst plastic miniatures. We've got 3D printed miniatures, third-party miniatures. It's almost like there are too many amazing choices. And that's before we even get into examples of mechs pulled in from different games or completely custom mechs. I'm starting to see 3D printed custom mechs. I mean, it's absolutely fantastic. And of course, the influx of new players, returning players, there's a lot of questions out there. So I'm trying to, in the next couple of vlogs, run two types. And we're going to get back to the clans. I know I broke away a little bit with the clan reviews, but there's just so much Battletech stuff to go over. And this is excellent because we've got new ideas, new influx, moving in to the hobby, to the community, networking, all of that. But essentially, a brief pause on Clan Tactica, Clan Tech, to look at two aspects. Generalized Mech 101 understanding. Building that checklist and understanding the different classifications of mechs. So not only can you tackle growing out your mech collection, although I can solve that really easy for you, just get all the mechs that you can because it's always fun to have different mechs to explore. But on a tactical level, starting to build a lance, because it is a lot more complicated than just pick four mechs and put them together. We want to have certain synergy. We want to have certain answers. And most important, if you're going to focus in on something very, very specific, you need to know the deficiencies. A perfect example, I love running LRM, dedicated LRM lances, and just putting down real-time hundreds and hundreds of missiles on the table. And that might sound fantastic, but in doing that, there are some major deficiencies. I'm piling in all of my battle value, all of my C-bills into this. I need to be aware that if I get caught in these situations, I'm going to fold really fast. I need to be aware of it. So it's important to have this checklist and build from there. The second aspect is coming to the understanding of Battletech that it is total warfare. And what I mean by that, moving beyond just combined arms. Mechs are king, but you can use tanks, air support, artillery, infantry, all amazing, is this idea that Battletech scales up and down. You can play a very streamlined, basic game and have a very satisfying game, or you can make things very, very complicated and very complex and take the game, to that level. There's no right or wrong answer as long as we know what we're doing ahead of time. So in this vlog, that's kind of the frame in, the intro. But in this vlog, I wanted to talk about interactive terrain and understanding how that's a little bit different in Battletech. Many wargaming systems, the terrain is fixed. That building, if you shoot at it, okay, maybe it takes some damage in the visuals and you put down a smoke marker, but it's still there. That hill is still there. Certain terrain you interact with, it affects movement, it might grant cover depending on the system, but it can't be changed. Maybe one or two examples of a special rule somewhere that lets you create some terrain or move an objective. But putting that aside, terrain is important, but it stays as it is. Now, many Battletech games, and in the core, that's how it works. If there's a building or if there's a wall, you can shoot at that and picture it taking damage, but essentially it's still there. And maybe we say the game is happening so fast in that moment with the narrative that, that's why. Certainly if you stood there for 10 minutes blasting it with PPCs, it would crumble. We don't have that time because of the mission. I mean, there is a thought process behind that. A forest, you can shoot into a forest, it's going to take damage, but it's still there. A hill is still there. Elevations are still there. But as we move into other aspects of the game, and we really see this with city fight, city tech. And I believe if you're moving into a game with a lot of buildings, you want to play with these rules. Battletech terrain is completely destructible. You can light a forest on fire. You can destroy a building. You can pick up pieces of various things, depending on how you want to interpret it, and use it as a battle club. We found in the rules, technically, I have it's Z scale. That's about as close as we're going to get. Little futuristic cars that I put out, And one of my players, when we were playing, I knocked him down. I punched him. Bam, bam, knocked him down. He's there, and he's like, I want to reach over and pick up the car. I mean, look, my mech fell in the hex. There's a car right there. I want to grab that car and throw it at you. And I'm like, well, okay. I mean, technically you can. It'll do like, 1 point of damage based on tonnage and velocity. I mean, we found it and we kind of calculated it out. But you can do crazy stuff like that in Battletech. Some of it is a game changer. My Victor was fighting a grasshopper on top of a building. Irby in the corners just sniping away. Got a headshot on the grasshopper. Grasshopper goes night-night. Pilot fails a consciousness check. Victor jumps down, and I blast the building. The building falls. Now that mech is taking fall damage. The grasshopper on top of there. So there are times where buildings can be interactive. You know, your opponent is advancing and everything's hiding behind this one building, and you level the building, and now you're out in the open. So I want to encourage you to play with the interactive terrain on boards where it will make a tactical difference. But possibly dialing it back and understanding, again, these rules are completely optional. So you could play a city fight, city tech game and say, look, we've only got like 2 hours to do this game. Let's just play it straight and not really have the interaction of the terrain and the destructible terrain and take it from there. You could say, look, we've got the whole day. So let's make everything absolutely interactive. If there's new players to the game, just to help get them started, maybe you say, look, you can't burn the forests. You can't level certain stuff. You can't pick up a tree or a blown off limb and use it as a club, although you definitely want to do that. Not saying that we're ignoring those aspects of the rules, but Battletech Beyond the Core is very much plug and play. So I hope that gives you some clarification of how to organize your games and how to start thinking about aspects of the game and utilizing it, because it does open up so much tactica. But as you move out into the more advanced rules, realizing that they are absolutely very much plug and play. You can choose to utilize them. You can choose not to utilize them. As long as we agree ahead of time, as players and opponents, there is no right or wrong way to play Battletech. And that's one of the amazing things that's really, really great about this narrative and about this game.